And today's session is going to explore how those integrated platforms and modern analytics can enhance the performance of the building, increase its energy efficiency, and in some ways go towards proactive maintenance across your whole buildings. And with that said, I'm very pleased to welcome three experts in the industry. So Domenico will be the first up today, and he's the sales director, EMEA for J2 Innovations. And then Davide will be talking about empowering technology and data management, and he works for the Costa Group. And last but certainly not least is Fabio, who's the export sales manager and partner program manager at Costa. And I think he's going to give us some more insight into some real life scenarios that they've seen and challenges that they've had. So without further ado, thank you all for joining, and we'll carry on. And over to you, Domenico.
Thank you very much, Ron. Thank you, everyone, for joining this call. I'm very pleased to open up this conversation today. So I'm going to share and show a practical use case of what we are talking about today. So it's a real project, actually, how we'll go through. So I will be more than happy also to answer your question at the end of the presentation. So as Ron said, please, any curiosity, please type into the chat. A little brief introduction about J2 Innovation. We've been active since 2008 in California and recently acquired in 2018 from Siemens, but still an independent company. We have our access to the market mostly through OEMs. We have a bit more than 350, 400,000 installation in the world, and we operate across multiple countries. Today, slightly above 30 countries. We have three global headquarters. One is in Los Angeles, where the company has been founded. We have one in EMEA and one in China, in Shenzhen. So the technology behind the scenes that we will be talking today about is Film Framework. It's our framework is what we do basically in our life. We develop this framework for the benefit of many OEMs that are using it, and for the benefit of the end users. Aside Costa Group, which is presented with me today, there we have many other OEMs in the group. I would say, the most important one, most known, like in Siemens, Flexiloop, Clivet, Panasonic, Sage Glass. So big crowd out there which is using the technology. And regarding the project today, it's a refurbishing of a public building in London, where the goal was to centralize data, having a unified user interface for EMS, BMS, and fault detection diagnostic, and enable analytics, try to improve energy efficiency as much as possible, and support comfort with consistent reporting, and as well, side that provide a tool for continuous optimization of the installation. So a bit of a technical overview about what has been done. There was existing legacy BMS controls which has been implemented, 19 main master controller with a bit more than 6,000 field points, and 169 energy meters and water meters around the building. Not all of them were connected before, and we had to manage 732 HVAC actionable points. And so the solution was chosen because high stack tagging is a big value in terms of what you can use standardize in terms of actions, graphics, and visibility of the points and how you would like to present. So this will give us an opportunity to create that unified user interface or whatever needed into the building, and once implemented, consolidate all the systems under a single modern interface and scale up to multi-site at a later stage. So to deliver the project, we created, together with our partners, a very clear roadmap, divided in 5 pillars and 7 sprints and 19 tasks. So covered all the details about planning, design, integration, and testing and handover in order to deliver the project in bit more than 3 months to cover all the things. We are now, let's say, in the phase of handing over to the end user. So a bit about EMS requirement summary. So 12 months roll up historical action for utilities, clear energy water dashboard, leak and baseload analytics, and possibility to split the consumption among, tenant and landlord, and understand a bit more, what's the cost involved and what's the carbon footprint behind the scenes, and, provide an automatic reporting with PDF, alarming and mailing, to the people that were directly interested in the topic. BMS requirement summary, clarify as much as possible what's going on in the plant, implement new space temperature sensors without touching too much the existing installation, give supervision about all the main equipment, air handling units, heat pumps, and hot water circuits, and, have a HVAC zone level inside. About the FDD and the analytics requirement, I try to understand the status of the installation, the equipment, and the zone with a random and green traffic light signal, very easy to understand by the end user. Profile the main components of the HVAC equipment, check the sensor reliability and continuity of the data from them, and understand any anomaly from the metering point. Try to understand if there's any actionable diagnostic that could be implemented, automated, and then, of course, provide the path for a continuous commissioning of the site, and, keep an eye on the performance of the site. So we create a comprehensive user interface, very easy to get understood by even not skilled people. So 16 tenant zone with individual scheduling, clear graphic and calendar, predictive optimal start-stop implemented for each of the tenant zone, and you have, a possibility to, at a glance, to understand if the alignment of the occupancy and the work of the HVAC was properly managed, through some specific graphic and appropriate dashboards. The architecture is pretty clear and straightforward, I would say. So we reused whatever was there, and then we implemented a server license of theme framework to aggregate the data, normalize, standardize, and present those data, and make it accessible through cloud in a very safe way through the edge to cloud. Basically, the server centralize everything, and the edge devices still keep continuous to manage the local control where necessary, while we can also implement a higher level strategy to optimize whatever was installed before, while the server will apply all the iStack tagging and normalize the data, and make it available through edge to cloud without the need of VPN. So very easy and straightforward to access, and this will give us way to have also the possibility to implement new sites from the smaller scale to, again, server, and lift those data through the edge to cloud to future server at the facility of the owner of the building, without the needing to send the data into a third-party cloud, and make it resilient first of all, and providing that this is a public building, there's a public institution which is managing and owning the building, sending the data of this building to private cloud or third-party provider could be, a bit of challenge. So this technology and this architecture will make sure that every data stays within, let's say, the managing container, which is the public institution which use the building, and the server is resident at the public institution, while leverage the possibility to have the cloud connectivity and a single access point for each and every data. Say that, the use of iStack also simplifies dramatically the things, because at the platform level, basically, we standardize and template each and every object, so that the platform at the site, at the building site, will act as a supervisor or controller, but also as a gateway, to bring those data in MQTT format, with an MQTT carrier, as a payload of the MQTT message directly to the end user server at the headquarter facility of the company which is managing and owning the building. Regarding the comfort and energy, it was required to create clear dashboards, and we have plenty of graphic solutions within Framework as a technology to represent the status of whatever is happening. So we can create KPIs, and we've been able to create the needed KPIs for this clear visualization of what was in the interest of the end user versus the tenant, of course. So we created, temperature as a set point, CO2 levels, energy heat map for quick anomalies detection, and the breakdown of the energy consumption and building. So we give this possibility also to the end user, basically, to create home dashboards and, through simple use of widgets and, drag and drop of the variables, he can also further modify or adapt the dashboards on his own as the team needs and feasible, just by using as a user the platform. About the alerts and the alarms and the audit trail, there was a clear limitation with the legacy BMS, which had a very rigid way to present alarms to the end user. And also, there was the difficulty in changing roles, changing companies which were providing the maintenance to adapt the process of alarming and to reroute the alarms to the appropriate person, also according to the shifts of the personnel on site. So the platform basically can help those managers on site to create rules and audit trails in a very easy way, and helps the operator which is in front of the screen, or which is usually using from remote, because this is a fully HTML5 platform, so it auto-adapts to the screen size, to understand what's happening, or be guided through the incident, and also get directly the manual of the equipment which is having an issue, and have a routine check, and then forwards the alarm directly to the recipient, which is the most appropriate on the moment. So that's a very powerful routine to create alarms processes rather than just destinations of alarm or summaries. There was a further requirement, to have a logic overview on numbers UK scheme, so to have data modeling aligned with numbers requirements, to make data regression analysis about weather, occupancy, and the meters data, and to provide, an automated scoring of how was the performance of the building or the zone, and make trend analysis. If anything was going out of or deviating from the standard or from the average, the system will automatically raise an alert, and a process of, notify the relevant people will start directly from the platform. The platform is cloud connected, and the manager can create organization, basically, which can manage the building directly from the cloud, which means that according, the role and the need of the organization that are accessing the platform on site, the end user basically can assign who does what and for how long time. He can also create access token for third-party applications. So if this public administration wants to lift the data directly from the BMS into any CRM or ERP or any other software that the public institution is using, this could be possible and feasible through the edge to cloud, because it's just an access token created, and then boom, the data will fly over edge to cloud directly into the end user application, into its own server. So it's very powerful, and it gives the possibility to have access to the many sites at a glance, understand what's going on. The pins turns color depending on what's the status of the building, and in this way it's possible, to create organization, sub-organization, management, and maintenance organization, and again create the single access point for all the users and for all the applications that need to consume the data from the many different sites, without even thinking about the IT infrastructure. There's no need for VPN. There's no need for headache of APN and stuff like that. Everything is basically orchestrated and managed through the portal. Once the local instance is registered on the portal, the data could be available to the relevant organization, which is looking after the site, and to the application, which is in charge of consume the data and provide insights to the end user. aside these, of course, we'll make available the Fin Intelligence AI. The platform is the first AI capable platform with the clear scope of make the use of the platform easy for any end user. So there's a chatbot there, so the end user could ask directly in natural language what's going on in the site, if there is any deviation from the standard use of energy, if there is an alarm. So it doesn't need to be really, a skilled person on the platform. Is there is someone which is, on site, it can ask what's happening to the platform. The platform will answer. So aside these, the AI also helps in the technicality of making the platform correctly configured. So if there's any tagging which is not properly done, it will say, hey, check this out. There's this equipment which has a strange mix of tagging. Also, because of the intelligence alarm, it can give contextual explanations of there's a specific alarm. These may depend on this equipment or this set point or this process which is not going well. So it's a very, let's say, powerful tool for today's operators that may change very often, and don't understand the technicality and the technicality behind the scenes. Then what happens? They just switch off and don't mind about the platform. Well, in this case, this is very pro operators and keeps the things running. So what's the conclusion and the lesson we learn with these together with the end user? Well, the technology behind the platform that has been used there is not a service that you subscribe to. You're not dependent to any service. And just in case you decide to don't renew very often, you lose all the track of what is done. That's a digital asset that belongs to the end user, that belongs to the organization and to the public institution which owns the building. So everything stays with the users and the owners of the building. The data sovereignty stays there. So there's nothing that is sent out of the network of or machines or equipment of the public institutions. So everything stays there, no third party. It's a very clear and open standard. So there's no hidden things that, can be smuggled or that can be used, to send data in a strange way. So everything is transparent. So this protects the investment and is very plain to be administered from the cybersecurity point of view. So the local intelligence and the enterprise analytic, of course, create a scalable, let's say, way to understand what is needed, where is needed. So you don't need to duplicate, you don't need to send a huge amount of data. If something is needed on site, but is not needed in the server, that will be processed on site, that will be kept on site as an information, while the things that are important and relevant at server side will be processed at server side. So it's very straightforward, and very light also from usage perspective of the network. So today, with this project, we really created the foundation for an advanced energy strategy and management across the entire portfolio of this public institution. And that has the possibility and the freedom to choice, does they want to keep the existing DMS? Do they want to update, add things here and there? They can select what's the best provider they have, and then put the platform on top and do all this analytics and data visualization tricks that the platform offers, plus the scalability without VPN to bring the data in a standard and open format towards the server. So just not a tool for optimization, but an IT tool that provides advanced features. So the data governance today is everything. Whoever owns the structure, the data, it's really driving, the evolution of the site, and also, has a very relevant role in terms of data privacy and cybersecurity. So in this way, with this platform, everything stays in the hands of the end user. And, this removes that dependency on the cloud-only solutions where everything is sent on the cloud, but everything is depending on the cloud as well. Open standards, as said, beat by many times, by long way, the proprietary models, because there's scalability, there's transparency, everything, is very clear, and there's no hidden action that can be taken. As said, local intelligence and distributed intelligence also reduce quite a bit the data usage, and you can select the carrier that you want to transfer the data where it's more appropriate. It can be only a simple 4G modem for an equipment, or a structured network, ultra light band, ultra large band whenever it's needed, because you have, data consuming asset that you're looking, but you can choose. Basically, that gives you all the freedom that you want. So choosing the platform is choosing the degree of freedom that you want in data visualization, acquisition, and processes. And this is what we really shared with the end user. I hope that this has been interesting to you. These are my contacts. If you want to learn more, please drop a note into the chat, ask a question, or write me, and I will be more than happy to support you with any requirement or curiosity. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Domenico. That's brilliant. And it's nice to see real life experiences in there. We do have a few questions, if you're prepared to answer those now. So Christopher Kelly has asked about haystacking. And is the haystacking doing the heavy lifting and creating the structure of the data, or is it just describing the structure that's already there?
Well, that's a very good question, actually. We use Haystack where it's possible and when it's possible. So basically, you have local APIs, which are Haystack APIs. So if you would like to connect to the database, you can write queries using Haystack APIs. We do use Haystack as a payload of the MQTT connector. Haystack is available also through HTTPS, IP connectors. So basically, the entire structure of Haystack is there. So if you're able, if you want, you can use whatever is needed as a tool in Haystack to lift, share, and even giving commands and do mass querying to the database that is in Haystack there. So yeah, it's a full structure based on Haystack, and it's used as a data lifting, let's say, platform, let's say.
So I guess you're saying it's very flexible. So if you had a flat structure or no structure, Haystack could help you.
Indeed, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So locally, you can use all the powerful Haystack things can give you, and you can use the H2 Cloud also to access the data in Haystack format, or you can use the MQTT broker to just consume the data, and the payload is a JSON which contains Haystack based structured data, I would say.
Okay, brilliant. We use the term MQTT quite a lot, and it's spoken about a bit, but I'm not sure everyone understands that. Can you just unpick that a little bit more, what that actually means?
Well, of course, I mean, the MQTT connector is a connector that asks for a specific information, and there's a carrier basically, and that's the broker which asks for this information. Then you need to create a JSON or a kind of container that can be lifted using the broker. The broker is actually a programming interface which is using and delivering the data. So you write a question, and then the broker sends to whoever has this information, and let's say the asset that has this information may respond using this carrier, which is a JSON in MQTT, and the JSON contains what is called the payload, which is the information. The payload in this case is exactly, let's say, the value of the variable, which is required, the timestamp with the combination of the Haystack tags. So it's used as a carrier for this information. This can be brought everywhere. So the MQTT is a very lightweight, unstructured, I would say, way to carry data, which combined to the typical IP protocol where you have all the structure of the data. It just consumes few kilobytes to send the relevant information. So what's the status of this sensor at this moment? So MQTT is the typical protocol that you use with IoT sensors at your home. If you tried an IoT device like an IoT sensors, with a smart home platform, it does exactly that. So you send the request to the broker sends the request, to your local interface, and then the sensor just sends the value back into the payload through the broker and gives back to your application that information. So that's exactly the usage. Sorry for the little announcement that you may hear, but I'm in a public space. Although it's very quiet sometimes, they send request. So I hope that I answer, the question about the MQTT interface.
Yep. And just one last one here, maybe. How easy is it, or how would you visualize underperforming buildings quickly across the campus, maybe?
Well, actually, the platform does regression analysis about each and every building. So depending on the climatic area and the surrounding condition of the building, it scores, it creates, say, a kind of signature of the building, I would say. So what is the energy consumption per square meter to the typical, for this typical building in this typical climatic area? So depending what are the weather condition, the occupancy status of the building, it expects to have a certain, consumption per square meter. So whatever is in around plus 10% around that is considered a normal condition. So you can compare building by building, climatic area by climatic area, type by type. And if there is any building which is outperforming, which is outside the average consumption, it highlights basically, hey, this building is outperforming compared to the other building in same condition and same environmental conditions. So that's a way, for instance, where you can classify if a building is outperforming compared to the average of the other buildings in the same condition, and it has more or less the same, let's say, energy balance, I would say, as the building.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We don't have any more questions. If anybody thinks of anything, pop it into the chat, please. And we will hand over to David.
I was muted, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Can you see my screen in my presentation? I think so.
Yep, I've got that.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So thank you for joining us at this event today. I am the Managing Director of Coaster Group, and today I'm proud to present a reality that represents the heart of the Italian innovation in building automation. Our history is built on deep root and constant evolution. So Coaster Group is a leading Italian company with a massive heritage. We have an installed base of over 7,000 buildings in Italy alone. And we also operate internationally with our official UK branch, which is located in Derby, and where our dedicated technical team supports the British market. So to understand the value we bring, it is essential to look at our industrial core. So we manage the entire life cycle of our products, and we host a specialized internal R&D department where our engineers design both the hardware and firmware for all of our devices and software for our building energy management system platform. Our production facility features is a fully automated SMT machine assembly line, and this is a vertical integration for us ensure the total control over quality and the ability to innovate rapidly from sophisticated HVAC controllers to precision sensor and actuator. And basically our constant commitment to quality is validated by rigorous 100% device testing process, and every single unit undergoes extensive functionality check, which allow us to reduce the defect to less than 0.5%. So we prioritize our quality from start to finish, and we are quite sure that for the market, Coaster Group product will deliver lasting reliability. But of course, follow what Domenico said. We also would like to share with you some market trend that we see as Coaster, and from our point of view, systems are becoming more intelligent, and the process of implementing them is becoming increasingly fragmented and difficult. So as a market, we have reached a breaking down where complexity is no longer an asset, but it's a liability. So the market today isn't asking for a complicated code, but from our point of view, it's screaming for simplicity. We also believe that we are facing a global shortage of specialized technicians and shrinking windows of time for project. So our collective, for our industry, collective missions must be to make the difficult looks easy. So this starting from the beginning of the chain, so the programming phase. So what you see in this slide is our tool and how we download our controller. So what the market needs is a direct translation to intent, and every HVAC or thermal project has the piping and instrumentation diagram that is the source of truth. So it's the map that everyone can understand. So the market is moving away from the black box programming, where you have to build every single elementary logic blocks from scratch. But from our point of view, today's professionals need tools where the approach we have taken, and like the approach that, of course, we have taken with CoasterCAD that you see in this slide, can take the piping and instrumentation diagram and turn it into functional controller logic almost instantaneously. So we also have to talk about the life of the building and a project that is not only a success just because it works on the day of the handover, but the market judges us on other, at least two distinct phases. Programming and commissioning first. We need tools that allow technicians to get the plant running without a PhD in computer science. So speed on site is the profit, basically, and we believe on it. And the maintenance. So we need transparent, simple logic that ensure a facility manager can keep the plant optimized for the long term. If the system is too hard to maintain, the energy efficiency gains are lost within the first year. There is another aspect that, from our point of view, the tool can help the professionists of this market. So the gap between the thermal design and electrical execution. We know the reality on the ground, so we design we design sophisticated building automation to make thermal plant efficient, but who is actually installing it? We know that it is the electrical professional. Very often they are ended at thermal logic, they don't fully understand, and they ask to wire it into panel. So the market is demanding, as also Domenico said, a unified workflow. An effective engineering tool must be able to bridge this gap by generating electrical schematics directly within the automation design process. So try to combine the logic of the HVAC plant that we can download into the controller, of course, with the output, the right output, which is the input for the electrical execution. For years, the industry talked about the centralized control, and we put all the brains of a building in one server room and opt for the best, but the market has changed rapidly, and today the demand is for the distributed intelligence. We need edge devices that are controllers that aren't just a dump of data collection, but they are smart nodes that are capable of making local decisions. Why? Because the market requires resilience, and if the cloud goes down, the building must still breathe. So if one section of the plant fails, the rest must adapt, and the real breakdown isn't just having one controller, it's the seamless integration of this edge device into a unified ecosystem. We know that the model requirements, I completely agree with Domenico, the model requirements isn't just management, it's insight. So a building energy management system shouldn't just tell you that the pump is running, but they should tell you why that pump is wasting money and why is running. So the market is demanding platform that can take raw chaotic data from the plant floor and transform it into a clear visual stories. This is exactly what we at Coaster choose a specific path with our platform, which is Web Garage. We recognize to meet this market demand, we couldn't just build a closed tool. We build a Web Garage on theme framework by J2 Innovation over the last, say, 8 years. And by leveraging this prestigious framework, we have created a fully web-based environment that speaks the language of modern internet. So also that is aligned with the modern requirements of the market. We developed a suite of dedicated applications with the goal of the simplicity. Finally, in the end, the true strength of the ecosystem is, from our point of view, the data semantic. So every data could be organized and structured and could be easily integrated in the BMS. But the BMS is not only the box that collect all the data, but can also give the chance to share the data with third-party platform. So with the tools, in our case with CoasterCAD, we automatically tagged and all the tag is aligned with the project iStack and so the iStack protocol. These, as I said before, allow to third-party platform to get data from the BMS. So I'm going to share with you a video that can give you an idea why, from our point of view, we need to looking for the simplicity. So if you see my screen, should be easy to integrate whatever controller. So this is of course Coaster controller, but the approach should be the same with whatever controller with a standard protocol. You can take the software that you use to create the logic for your controller that of course can speak standard protocol. You create, in this case with Web Garage, based on theme framework, your hierarchy of the building. In this case, we are creating the room, like the third level, and we integrate all the program. Of course, in the end, we need to set up the connectivity. So in this case, this is a Modbus controller. So we need to put the slave address and the IP address of the device. And in the end, we have a complete integration with few passages. So we have the configuration of the system based on the same graphics that we see in the tools. And what is the added value? That all the points inside our tool, you see now we have a lot of buildings, but in the buildings that we created now, we see that we have all the data structure in the right way. And if I take a probe inside this data, this probe contains all the tags that we need to take data from the building energy management system and share this data with the customer that asked for it. So we are in the end of my presentation. To dive deeper into our international operation, I leave the floor to Fabio Lamberti, who manage our international markets and system integrators. And thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Davide. We've got a couple of questions and one for me to start with. As the BCIA and the industry as a whole, we know there's a skill shortage everywhere. So your approach with the drop-down menus is really interesting, I think, in standardizing and things like that. How does that help with, say, energy efficiency? I can see how it, the haystack tagging is done within there.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you do the program from scratch, you can also make some mistakes because sometimes you, for example, don't link the right probe with the logic of the generators and so on. Using this approach, we avoid these kind of errors, and we try to reach high level of efficiency in a building, avoiding mistakes during the programming and commissioning phase.
Excellent. So have these been tested against any sort of standards, the EN, whatever, 15120 and things like that, and proven to be ABC rated?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is the point. Of course, also, if you are compliant with the regulation, we have to reach a particular level of efficiency in the building. So using our software, we guarantee that with the right use of our standard logic, you can reach the highest level of efficiency.
Yeah, brilliant. Have you had any experience with the ASHRAE 36, I think it is, standard?
Yes, even if it's
you know.
Yes, I mean, you know that the regulation is it's not clear for every country. So one of the most critical point that we are facing with is, of course, the different regulation for different countries. Yes, it's I think that it's could be a good tool. It is not actuated now, but we are waiting for the actuation of this kind of regulation. I think that could be a good help for the industry in general and for us due to what I said before.
Yeah, I mean, likewise, it's kind of standardizing how you control certain pieces of plant to ensure the best efficiency and the best use of it. So yeah, it's early days, but I think it will be somehow adopted in Europe. Yeah. Thank you for that. And just conscious of time, should we hand over then to Fabio?
Okay, thanks a lot, Ron. Welcome everybody. My name is Fabio Lamberti, as already said by Davide before. I'm the export manager in Costa and also the channel partner development manager mainly. What we would like to discuss with you during the next 20 minutes is just about the transition the system integrator are facing in the age of data. and just to be ready to answer to the customer needs and requests. Because its role is actually changing, and they need to be prepared to this change. During the next 20 minutes, I would like to go through these 6 key points, just speaking about the integration, data visualization, and so on, for sure. But technology itself, as you know, it's not enough. What is most important, in my opinion, is the role of the system integrator in this business. Let me start with a question that sometimes I pose to my partners. How many of your clients contact you after the installation, not because something is not working, not because something is broken, but because they want to understand how their building is performing? To be honest, the majority of them usually answer to me, honestly, my customer don't call me, or it happened very few. It is a real pity because the system is working, but it is silent. The energy managers, the facility manager, the ESCO companies, the real estate players in this business are facing increasing pressure to justify how they spend the energy, how they can demonstrate the savings, and the silent system is no longer enough for sure. The opportunity for this change for the system integrator is available right now, but it is a window, and sooner or later, this window will be closed by the market. I would like to stress this concept again. The customer, the end user, are no longer buy a system. They buy visibility, performance, and data. The end customer invests in solutions that give them visibility about performances. They want to know the data across their portfolio. Because as you know, the data are the new oil. They are not really interested, in my opinion, in which brand you are deploying. If it is blue, red, green, doesn't matter. They are not interested. They expect fundamentally only a result and clear answer to their needs. The 4 profiles shown in this slide, we suppose as Costa and J2 innovations to answer to their needs. The energy manager, for example, wants to know where the energy is being wasted and as proof of saving. The facility manager seeks to transition from reactive to predictive maintenance. Sometimes speaking with them, they told me that they are pretty bored to manage their facility as it happens 10 years ago or 20 years ago. They expect more. The ESCO company for sure must contractually demonstrate savings, and data are not optional. Data is not optional. It is subject to the contract, as you know. And the most advanced clients expect their system integrator to proactively surface the data and the insight rather than wait to be called. This is what we can deliver thanks to Costa technology and the Fin framework, tangible outcomes, proven value, and the decisive competitive edge for everyone. Just speaking about the system integrator, there is a sort of transition time in this year. The evolution from the classical special installer or system integrator is moving to the 3 main dimensions: technical skills, client relationship, and data governance. From the specialist installer, the first one on the left of the slide, focused on the execution for project through system integrator and data partner, as we call them, to finally became a master system integrator, the long-term strategic partner involved in decision before the project even exists sometimes. Our role as coster, as growth partner, is to accelerate their journey, sharing international market trends, providing business tactics, and enabling the product and platform that make each step possible. As showed by Davide before me, we also are developing software already deployed in 1,000 buildings here in Italy that really help the system integrator, but sometimes also the specialist installer to move in a new way. Thinking not just to the point, but just to the relevance of this point in the entire project. This is a slide that I'm using several times also in the past to show what I mean when a system integrator is moving from the classical system integrator to a master system integrator. It is a transition that involves the people inside the company, inside the system integrator, the kind of relationship they have with the system, with the end user, trying to move from a point solution to a digital enterprise. The relationship must be based no more on the automation, but became a sort of business leader for the end user, and then the reputation. The main partner already are working as a sort of trust advisor for their customer, because they own the data and they know from where the data are coming and how to transform data in real information with value. The three capabilities that empower system integrator to respond actually to the client demands are data visualization, for sure, a dashboard automatically generated from the iStack model, as already Domenico showed before, without no need to build each widget individually. So having a shorter time for decommissioning, for example, and eliminating hours of manual graphics work. Performance analysis with a fault detection diagnostic, as again highlighted from Domenico. Smart HVAC anomaly alerts and energy report already ready, all without additional tools, all in a singular tool. From the integration wise, all main protocols are built in legacy system, and new IoT devices are integrated seamlessly without replacing what is already placed in the infrastructure or in the site. In every case, the system integrator shifts from being a reactive executor to a proactive, intelligent partner. Oh, yeah, already we discussed it before about iStack. iStack deserves its own slide in this case, because it is often misunderstood. It is not just a protocol, it is a standardized tagging methodology that gives every data point a semantic identity. What it measures, what it sees, how it related to other points. When every asset, sensor, valve, zone, and so on, carry a semantic tag, the system integrator can surface insights that would otherwise take hours of manual work. And critically, iStack tagging is the most effective bridge between operational data and the BIM. Indeed, behind the scene, there is an increasing demand to integrate the data that are already available in the BIM model to the BMS to make the famous digital twin product. When every data point carries a standardized tag, it can be mapped into the corresponding BIM model and creating, as I said, the digital twin. The system integrator who master iStack tagging become the architect of the twin, and it owns the intelligent layer of the building. I want to be really direct in this case. Technology is great. Fin is a great tool for sure, but the technology itself is not enough for facing the customer needs. As I said again before, the skills and the knowledge of the system integrator is the main part, in my opinion, for getting a successful project. The system integrator bring knowledge. They faced during their work during the years a lot of buildings and sites, and they are ready to answer to the question of the end user because they have the knowledge and they can manage the platform. In this case, the Fin framework, in the right way, just to address the market, the customer needs. Without the experience, without the knowledge, without the skill, platform is a platform, but itself is not enough to solve again the problem. Oh, sorry, I got a problem with the slide. It's not moving. Okay, thank you. Sorry. So for the system integrator, platform like Fin, for example, can also open new business opportunity, moving from the project to service. I already know some partners across Europe that are working in this way. Since they are owning the data, they can support the end user, the customer, proposing, I don't know, a service for a monthly monitoring of the data and proposing improvement based still on the data and not just about an idea. They can move from to be a classical technician to a consultant, as I said again before. And last but not least, the real estate companies are looking for someone able to manage portfolio of buildings, not just one. And as said by Domenico at the beginning of this call, in Fin framework, we already have cloud to edge feature for free. It is already embedded in the product, in the platform, and it is absolutely secure. I want to highlight that we love to call Fin framework secure by design, because only in this way you can really provide the security to the end user that its system is secure and avoid in this way any kind of data breach. Last but not least, I spoke with several partners over the last years, and they would like to move versus a master system integrator. We designed the Coster, a program called the Coster program for partners to help the system integrator on marketing, sales, and technical support, because they cannot by themselves and in a few time moving from a side of the market to the other, to an upper level. So thanks to our program, we can support for the marketing activities, the partners. On the sales, we can provide proposal and so on, but mainly from the technical support, we can follow the project with the system integrator since from the beginning up to the support when the deployment has been done. So 3 takeaway from this, from my part: the market wants data, not just system, and we must to answer to this question from the customer. Fin could be the right, obviously from our point of view, the right answer to their needs, and the business is changing, and so we can also keep the system integrator with new business models. I would like to remember that with J2 Innovations, we are organizing the first J2 Innovation event in Europe. It will be held at the end of June on the 23rd in the beautiful Verona, close to the arena. So you are all invited at this event. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Fabio. That's brilliant. And
thank you.
You know, personally, I can see, and I'm sure the rest of the people on the call can see that move within our industry from system integrator to master integrator. Maybe it's the same company in some cases, you know, but there's definitely that need for that higher level of pulling all of this stuff together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are the key point in a successful project for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely the direction of travel in things. We do have some time left, so if it's okay with you three, could we have a sort of panel to wrap up some of these questions that have been asked?
Sure.
And whoever
Absolutely.
feels best to answer it can answer it, and you can have an argument if you want. I know that quite a lot of the questions have been answered in the chat format, but just so that everyone can hear it, and if they can't see the chats themselves. One specifically from me, which isn't in the chat, is, you know, we've seen the massive benefits for the end user in the data visualization. They can identify problems very easily and quickly, energy efficiency and things like that. But is there an additional cost to them? You know, we've seen some efficiencies in how we do this, but is there a bigger cost to the end user to have this philosophy?
I think the biggest cost to the end user is to have clear ideas. So that was one of the questions. You know, it costs to them. You know, they just come with the question, "Hey, could you make me things more transparent? You know, highlight me if anything happens into the side." I say, okay, that's a big challenge. As we said, I mean, we have like 6,000 field point there, and you know, you need to know what means relevant for you. That's the most important thing. And I think, you know, was a great question. And how do you consider something when it's, you know, relevant or not? You know, how do you help people in understanding? You know, that kind of clarity is exactly, you know, what costs time to the end user. They should come with clear ideas about, you know, I want to understand better what's my energy consumption. I want to understand more what's my energy flow. I want to use this data for this specific reason. You know, I have a long-term idea about implementing more renewables or, you know, or other strategy, because, you know, data and presenting data without a purpose and without a plan means nothing. So that's exactly where I would say, you know, that's the cost for the end user. And they very little invest in these at the beginning. You know, they just rely on, hey, you're the expert. You give me, you know, your idea. But I mean, I don't have your wallet and I don't understand, you know, what's your typical business. So you need to help me in doing this, I would say.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's one of the key things. And you know, the BCIA are pushing for that, to talk to consultants, but actually it needs to be before that stage, actually at stage 2, at the concept where you're actually talking to the end user. Because what is your goal? You know, so before it gets to the architect, the consultant, the mechanical contractor, and everybody else, that's all diluted.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, with the technology that we have today, the possibility to lift data into tools that you use to manage your organization, you know, make the DMS platform relevant for your business. You can understand a lot more, but you need to come with a plan. So tell me, what's your ERP, what's your CRM, how you are evaluating the cost of manufacturing, the cost of a process, and then I can bring you the data directly from the controls into your tool. The tool that you use to run your business. That's the important thing, you know. And I think this is, I think, lately happening, I would say, also because the IT infrastructure could be complex. You know, the data modeling it was not always there, and if it was there, it was mostly proprietary. I think this is where we are a bit, you know, breaching the barrier, I would say, with this approach that we have. But it's really needed to have clear idea.
Yeah, Definitely. You kind of touched on something there. A big topic is cybersecurity everywhere. Who is responsible for cybersecurity in these sort of systems? Is it the manufacturer of the equipment? Is it the IT department, or is it a shared responsibility?
Wants to go?
Yeah.
It's a shared, for me, responsibility.
Yeah.
As a manufacturer, we need to be we need to design our product and our solution according with cybersecurity standard, and we need to be I would say yes, to design, as Fabio said, cybersecurity design since the beginning of the product. Something that, for example, we do with our edge device is to create two different Ethernet ports, one for the external network and one for the internal one for the building automation instrumentation. So this can help also to technicians because of course they used to work with an internal network of controller, and also help IT manager to accept the solution that we propose, because of course there is it's like we have two different networks, one for the technical one and one for the IT infrastructure. Of course, software inside must be thought and designed to be aligned with the compliance with cybersecurity issue for sure.
Excellent.
I think that's something that we try to do, helping our customers. We provide white papers and hardening guides because, you know, as Davide stressed, I know the cooperation among the platform manufacturers like us, software development are very much looking at proactively make the equipment secure, which means that the provider of the hardware looks after, the hardware cyber security, so the accessibility of the physical access to the data, then the operating system, then we look after, the cyber security of the platform, and then we make sure that the three things together are totally safe. The point is that, once this is connected to something, you need to be sure that whatever happens outside is also as safe as, we design as the security in mind, the cybersecurity in mind. So we provide the hardening guides to the end user. We provide a lot of consultancy also. And this is also why we decided, we don't want just to rely on the VPN, because the VPN itself can be a carrier of risks. So we said, hey, better off if the Edge to Cloud portal is the portal which is granted by the manufacturer of the platform in lifting the data in a safe way, wherever the data is as destination, basically. So it's also the carrier of the data. So there are a lot of things that you should consider when you want to deal with this stuff, and you're trying to bring data somewhere without the proper knowledge. Many things should be taken in consideration. The backdoors are everywhere, basically.
Yes, and also some IT infrastructure like VPN is not easy to implement. So we as Costa try to stress the concept that we need to make the thing easiest. So it's important that, in the end, the building automation specialist just make the activity on the field, make the handover and commissioning all the different phases inside the plant, and then connect the plant to the internet without any difficulties. Of course, remaining with in the safe loop of IT security. But it's important to combine to be compliant with the cybersecurity issues and try to not leave the simplicity inside the building and for the building automation specialist and system integrator, just to a link to Fabio.
I mean, I guess drive into those conversations with the end user and their IT department, and that manufacturers can build it as secure as possible, but they need to be aware of what the capabilities and limitations are and put their own security around that.
Yeah, indeed, Ron. And I got in mind a couple of situations where I went through the cybersecurity assessment provided by the end user in that case. And they addressed that request to the system integrator. And the questions are not just about the technology you are using or which kind of protocol you are using, but also, or mainly, let me say, have you in plan, my dear system integrator, a recovery plan in case of data breaches? What are the certifications you have? If the main customers are starting and asking certification like, I don't know, the 27001 and so on, I suppose that some system integrator can face issues during the next months and years, because they must be prepared only on their side internally, because the end user want to be sure that in case of breaches, they can recover all the data.
Yeah. Excellent. One other one was about predictive modeling here. So you spoke about BIM and things like that. Have you had any cases of predictive modeling? So taking the real data that we've got today, putting it maybe through the digital twin and seeing outcomes. Have we seen that in reality, or is that just a concept still at this stage and a possibility?
To be honest, I feel just a few cases, real cases about the famous digital twin in the building market. In the industrial market that I was in the past, it is pretty common, or quite common. But in the building market, it is not true still. As I mentioned before, we are organizing with J2 the next forum, the next FinConnect, we call it, in Verona. During that event, we want to show exactly a real case where we are able to show how to surf the building and see the data coming from the BIM model, the 3D model, in a real case. Because the main designing company are asking for this kind of integration because they invest a lot during the BIM process on putting data inside the model, and now they want to see how to reuse the data integrated with the BMS or the monitoring system and so on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I see. It gets spoken about a lot, but it hasn't really been implemented yet. But now people have spent the money and time. Now let's start leveraging that benefit that we can use. Yeah.
But it is true, and it is also a natural path of evolving, because as we mentioned before many times during this call, all the data need to be integrated and shown in the same place. Some customers are thinking that the 3D model could be the right user interface for managing a building. I don't know if it is true or not, but this is what they are asking.
Yeah. What we are sure, is like you need to look the big picture. When we see that the BIM in the practical realization and construction side is saying, this would save a lot of time in terms of preventing interferences among, the installation, the plans and whatsoever. is not only that, is that a lot of things that you were doing on site, you can do it off site and then assemble the building, because you have everything before building the building done in the BIM. So same things actually is what happens after the building, because the building change immediately the minute after that you hand over it to the end user. So whatever has been designed, by the consultant, immediately change after you do the handover to the end user. So if you can bring the data into the BIM, and the BIM is this bespoke, passport of the building, and you can understand the life cycle assessment of the building, then it's there that you need the data, and the BMS is where you source this data, actually. So you can understand how the building is changing, what are the changes that you need to make, because, compared to the expectation, this space has been used then in a different way. Then you need to provide the air supply, the energy, and the lights in a completely different way compared to what was designed. This happened every time. And so the BIM is exactly that tool that, combined with the BMS in a proper way, can be impactful, dramatic, can have a dramatic impact on what's the total footprint of the building, and also what's the how to reduce the total cost of operation of the building in general. So how this marks the profit of that building in the enterprise that is using the building. That's very important. We need to understand that the two things are no longer independent. This is a tool to give you profit. Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that since COVID. The whole working pattern of an office building has changed. People are working at home more, areas are being repurposed for other things, smaller areas. So what someone thought 2 years ago when it was on a piece of paper has changed by the time they've actually gone and occupied the building in that real living environment. Yeah, and we see a big gap, and a lot of the members are saying you need to prove what's been designed is actually being produced in the living building, or is it achieving what you've thought it could achieve? And if it's not, we need to identify areas that we can change, adjust to actually get it back to that A-rated building that I paid millions of pounds for.
And look, I mean, you may have the idea of how this has changed. You may have a picture by walking into the building, how different is now the usage of the building compared to why and how it was designed for. But, the real usage is in the data that the BMS has. So what's relevant, it's really, that amount of data and how the things have changed. So you can understand what you need to implement, what are the things that you need to modify, and when to start from. What is the priority? What's the first step in modernizing the building? I think that's what is written in the BMS data combined with the BIM. That was the purpose for designing this building. That was what we thought in using this building. But these are the data that explains how this has really been used for and when. And so this is the path to change it for more profit, for better usability, and whatever is relevant for the investor.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for us is, the investor has paid millions and millions and millions for something, but they're not the knowledgeable people. They don't know about concrete. They don't know about the services. They just want this to happen. And what gets delivered potentially is much different from what they had envisaged. And this gives you a measure of what you're actually got delivered, and also how to change it for the better, again, to get it back for your business needs.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think we're now sort of coming to the session. I don't know if any of you wanted to wrap up on anything at all. I think we've covered quite a lot today.
Yeah.
Indeed. Just wanted to say thank you to all three of you for spending the time and giving your insights to us all. Thank you for everyone who's attended today, and this first, as I said before, the first thought leadership session. on, and I'll have to read it here, the data visualization, performance analysis and integration session that we've just had. And it's really highlighted to me, you know, the meaningful way we can turn that massive pool of data that a building can generate into really useful information that the occupier and the master integrators can use to improve the performance of the building, you know, and it be proactive and actually work for you. You know, and we should think of this as maybe your digital assistant. We're always using digital assistants now, whether it's AI and your co-pilot and things like that. And that's what this philosophy can do for you. You don't have to send someone to go and look in the plant room anymore. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do big graphs and Excel spreadsheets. This can collect the data that's already there and give it to you in a meaningful way.
Absolutely, and takes the decision and makes change also, you know. It's really working for you. So I would like to thank you, to thank everyone also for the very good question that has been raised in the chat and for the interaction. So thanks from my side. It was very important, let's say, to have this exchange with you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. And remember how much is important the figure of the system integrator and the tagging for the transformation. Yes.
And the technology from producer point of view.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to remind everyone on the call that this has been recorded, and the presentations and all the supporting material will be emailed to you shortly. It's available on the YouTube channel and our members area on there. And just I'd encourage everybody to stay connected amongst us all, you know, with Costa, the BCIA and J2 Innovations as well.
Definitely.
You know, if you reach out to those people, please do.
Anyway,
to add on LinkedIn and kept connected.
Yeah, and just one last reminder, it's a sales pitch here, but we've got these thought leadership sessions every 3 months. So the next one will be in June, and the last Friday of the month is an open session as well, a sort of manufacturer's session. So please sign up for those, come along, they're free, they're open to everybody. Thanks everybody, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Look forward
to
seeing
you everyone.
Thank you guys.
Have a nice day. Bye bye. Thank you.